to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. And now, here's Chris Colon and Paul Perscrillo.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And I refuse to update my computer. My computer's been on for like the past 2 or 3 days. And because I've been, like we were talking about before the episode, I've been slowly, very slowly. I'm trying to put the episodes up, past episodes. Now, mind you, this is like episode 190 something. And so I have at least 190 hours worth of material that I'm putting up on YouTube. I'm taking the old episodes, and it's real funny to hear like old websites that don't even work anymore, and stuff that I used to talk about, and here talking about movies that I was so excited to see, then I saw, then they sucked, but we'll get to that later. So it actually takes a long time to render out an hour-long video for YouTube. So because as we come up on the year at our Podomatic, right now we use Podomatic as our server to host all these episodes, all the wonderful episodes, Two Strangers, One Podcast. I may follow your lead as you did on the Tanami Faithful and switch over to SoundCloud. But for the time being, I said, let me just take the old episodes and put them up on YouTube. Because, nowadays kids are listening to, kids are using YouTube. They actually said that YouTube is actually bigger right now than any single channel. Like if you take any broadcast channel, YouTube kind of beats them all out. So so when I have to render out these files, I mean they literally take like 4 or 5 hours to render out.
I'm looking at the YouTube page as we speak, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, just for 1 hour. And then some of the earlier videos I've made mistakes, but I'm just too lazy to go back. I'm just gonna put them all out there, and whoever finds them. Hopefully, I'm just hoping that like YouTube uses whatever algorithm it uses. Like when obviously, I think there's people who listen to YouTube. Like you put it on in the background. It's kind of like how people would listen to podcasts in general. So hopefully,
Two Strangers, One Podcast. Don't get married.
on the just, and then also because I also want to put them up on Facebook, but Facebook won't let you upload a video more than 45 minutes. So I actually have to take the same episode that I just made, cut out the last, usually it's like 15 minutes or so. I still want to slap in the commercial for my book because that's just I'm trying to sell some copies of this fucking thing. So I'll put that at the end of the episode and put them up on Facebook. Because there's actually Facebook actually it will show videos that you've uploaded to Facebook before it'll show you a link to a video. That's become like a big controversy now, that people who have put out videos on YouTube, someone else will go and take the video and post it on Facebook. And, and the same video, like if you look at the link to YouTube, let's just, use an easy number. There's, the link will get 500 views or whatever. But if you take the same video and you put it on Facebook, it'll have, and I'm not even exaggerating, like 100,000 views, because then YouTube uses that. I mean, Facebook uses that, like, they'll when you're watching a video, stupid Facebook ads play on the side, like on the same screen if you don't make it full screen. So,
right.
I mean, it's kind of a really messed up, fucked up thing to do, but, just to cover our asses, fuck it. If Facebook, if it gets the word out there, then let Facebook, let Facebook use whatever horrible algorithm they're using so they could exploit it, as long as we're getting the podcasts out there.
Right.
So, and the other day I rebooted my computer, and oh my God, what's with all these updates? Because they're not updates. All these updates are basically just more ads for you to fucking download Windows 10.
Well, it's I almost got Windows 10. I just I was in the middle of it and it fucking played this game called Oh Look, I I kind of didn't have enough power. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I mean, like I use my machine right now. When I first bought it, it was a Windows 8 machine. Then I got the update, so it's technically Windows 8.1. Somehow magically they fucking just jumped past Windows 9. Like no one ever what the hell happened to Windows 9, and it's Windows 10. So every time I get an update, now I literally have a icon in the lower right part of my screen like update Windows now. Get Windows 10 now. And I'm one of those people where I generally don't want to jump on some technology the day it comes out because there's going to be problems. There's going to be. I mean, yeah, it'll eventually get updated, but I don't want to have to deal with the headaches. It's bad enough with Windows 8 won't, like, if you have like older programs that you really really like, you kind of have to do this special. Some programs don't work on Windows 8 if they, some programs that you used back on fucking Windows XP. So it is a pain in the ass. So I'm like, I refuse to update to Windows 10. Let them work out the kinks, 'cause
I haven't heard anything bad about it though. That's the thing.
well, the thing is that people are like, you have to go through extra measures to make sure that your privacy settings are set up correctly. Because the Windows 10, they've taken a character from the Halo games called Cortana. I don't play Xbox. I don't play any of the Halo games, but she's like an artificial intelligence from the Halo games, and it's basically their version of like Apple has Siri on the iPhone, but they put it in your computer, and like you could ask, you're making your laptop or whatever, nowadays they want everything's touchscreen or whatever. They're making your computer kind of like the way the phones are, where you could just tap a button and talk directly to your computer and say, hey computer, what's the weather like? What's the weather going to be like tomorrow? Oh, computer, what's the fastest directions to get from here to, the pizza place? So, but they're calling it Cortana after that character that, from I just said Halo. So, and what happens is that, as you keep asking questions, it kind of keeps like, it has all the questions that you've asked, it saves it in its memory. And so, because I think it's supposed to be that after a while, it'll like just like be ready for whatever question you have. Like if you keep asking what's the weather like every day, it'll eventually like, it'll search the answer out faster because, if you ask every day, what's the weather like? And I'm just using that as a fucking bullshit example. But so technically that information is saved on your computer. It's gathered on your computer. And you have to make sure, you have to go through these extra steps to make sure that someone can't just get into your computer, take all the questions that you've asked over. That's like if someone had to fucking look at your browser history. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
A lot of people, if someone else could get their hands on your fucking browser history, they want to know why you look up, naked Asian midgets or whatever. So, so they want you to, you have to take extra steps, and I'm fucking tired of that shit. What else? Unfortunately, once again, I apologize to our normal listeners, I only got 2 pieces of hate mail from Oscar. Well, not hate mail. He's basically saying, hey guys, where's the episode, guys? What's the first one? He says, I'm going through serious withdrawal. He goes, I might even have to listen to that horrible Toonami Faithful podcast. And then, like, literally, like 12 hours later, he's like, "What the fuck, guys?" Like, so, yeah, Oscar is jonesing and missing out on the episodes, and I apologize because I think last week, where we usually record on like a Friday night or whatever the case may be, you were busy, I was busy. I think you were busy, and then the other days we were going to record, and I ended up being busy. Because you've moved recently, right? Or
yeah,
for the lack of better term.
Yeah.
So your girlfriend, so she moved, which basically means that you moved because, being a guy, that means you're the one, moving all that fucking furniture and breaking your ass. And then like, I think the next day, because since we couldn't record on Friday, then the Saturday, I totally forgot that this band called Fear Factory, which a little nod. Basically, we play Fear Factory every episode because when you listen to the very, very beginning of the episode where it says, due to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised, that is actually taken from a Fear Factory song. It's called the song is called Edge Crusher, which is a great fucking song. But that's the very beginning of the song. So that very official sounding thing was from Fear Factory. It's from their 1999 album Obsolete. So I was at work and I'm going, I'm on lunch and I'm looking at my phone. I'm going through my Twitter feed and I'm like, oh yeah, Fear Factor is playing Rochester tonight. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I mean, I remember seeing it months ago and I forgot. So after work, I went straight to the venue, and it was for those people who like heavy metal or whatever. I mean, there was a band Josta, which is has Jamie Josta, the old host, not the old host, but the host of Headbangers Ball. The headliner was Cold Chamber, which they're a good band. At Fear Factory, I thought Fear Factory was the headliner. They should have been the headliner. But they just put out, and Fear Factory just put out a new album, and they're kind of going through, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, because like there's the guy that played on the album, one of the guys that played on the album wasn't the one playing on stage. And one of the cool things, if you're ever familiar with the band Static X, I mean, the lead singer died last year. So the bassist from Static X is now on tour with Fear Factory. His name is Tony Campos. But unfortunately, Tony Campos wasn't with the band to record the album, but he's with them on stage. And apparently Tony Campos is friends with Dino Cazares, which is the lead guitarist in Fear Factory. Long story short, the fucking show kicked ass. They played here at the Water Street Music Hall. Which have you ever been to that venue, Paul?
Water Street Music Hall?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think so. No.
It's funny because it's a venue and it's in the middle of nowhere, and it's funny because it's called Water Street because it's literally, Rochester has like these waterfalls right stuck dead in the middle of it, so it's right off the waterfalls, which and then they have live music. I'm like, and every time I've been there's always been like heavy metal shows, but there are people who, like, they're literally apartment complexes across the street. And, I don't know if I want to live across the street from a venue that had live music all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's awesome, like, for bands that you like. But, I mean, I don't want some random Tuesday night just to have fucking people, And then you got people, because right next door to Water Street Music Hall, there's like a, I guess for the lack of a better term, a hip-hop club. Because it's so funny to see these guys leaving the Fear Factory concert, Fear Factory, Cold Chamber. And then you got these people waiting to go in line to a hip hop club, which is right next door to or a club that particular night had hip hop. It was so funny to see, like, guys in black t-shirts and spikes and leather and boot, motorcycle boots, and then you got and you got the homeboys walking towards the club, and the hip hop clothes and whatever. So it was funny to see like that mix of people when the show let out. And then I went down to New York City because my daughter's birthday. By the time we record this, I'll be releasing it on my daughter's birthday. But so I went down. So it's funny, for the episode we did, I want to say, was it earlier this year? It was like "Don't Wake Mommy." So my mom is in town. My mom is in my house. And then to add to the mix of also issues, my daughter's here at the house also. Because her mom, now mind you, her mom just had a kid like less than a month ago, and the mom wanted to go out and hang out tonight. So she's like, "Oh, could you watch the baby? Because tonight's not a night where I usually have my daughter." But apparently, you want to go hang out. You have a child that's less than a month old, but you want to go hang out and stuff like that. So
right.
I'm watching, which don't get me wrong. I mean, I love watching my daughter, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, she's sleeping now, and I'm hoping I don't wake her up. But it just shows you the mom's priorities where she's hanging out tonight, and I'm watching what I'm curious is who's watching the brand new newborn baby less than a month old. But then again, that's none of my business. So we'll take it from there. I think someone's stealing my mail, Paul.
Yeah, you were saying that.
I was supposed to get a DVD earlier this month. I mean, we're already halfway through the month. I was supposed to get that JoJo's New Adventure DVD. I mean, I didn't pay for it, so I don't, it was supposed to be a screener copy for review for Geeky Inc. and Two Strangers One Podcast and for Tsunami Faithful. It hasn't shown up. And there's other pieces of I've been getting other pieces of mail that I've been expecting. And I don't know if it's maybe because since I live like on a dead end street, because I thought since I live on a dead end street and like my apartment complex, like I would say maybe 3/4 of the apartments here are actually full. So maybe the mailman just is like, I'm not going to walk down that street and give him their mail, like let it sit for a day or two and then he'll deliver it when there's more mail. But I just haven't been getting my mail, and I don't know if I'm not getting it or the mailman's not doing his job or someone's stealing it. Because if someone's stealing my fucking mail, I'm gonna have to fucking put a bullet in somebody. I swear to God. What else? We were talking about. Oh, I kind of wanted to go into this. This is, and it of course is something I've been wanting to talk about. It's somewhat inspired also by a letter that we got from Oscar a while back, because he was talking about the Sandra Bland being pulled over in Texas. The big controversial story about how the cop was being an asshole and pushed the issue. But of course, look, if the cop's being an asshole, let the cop being an asshole, because you want to sit there and you don't want to swallow your pride, because there's all these rumors, that she killed herself, that she killed, and they said she killed herself, and they did the toxicology reports, and the autopsy reports, and it seems that she did, everything's consistent that she did kill herself, and but there's people like all big conspiracy, like, it's not, maybe the
Let me just stop you right there. Basically, if you don't hear anything more about a huge news story, it means the news organization's fucked up and she actually did kill herself.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty much what that meant.
Well, no, I'm saying is the person that did the autopsy. They said, but conspiracy people would say, oh, well, they're going to take the cop's side, like they're going to fudge the evidence so the cops don't get in trouble. Which I don't think so. I think if I don't persistently. I'm just saying, there's people who hate cops so much that they feel, of course the autopsy is going to go along with what the cop said because they're all on the same team. I don't think so.
Let me put this. Let me put it to you. Let me put this out there. I read an article on CNN tonight, and I can't think of where this happened, but a police officer, I think it was last Friday, pulled over somebody, and he called for backup because he was in the midst of trying to find somebody that was involved in a robbery, so it had nothing to do with the guy that he pulled over. He asked the guy to stay in the car and whatever, and he called for backup, and this guy gets out of the car and is very hostile and begins beating this officer, gets the guy's gun, and pistol whips him. The officer didn't remember. The last thing he remembered was waking up in the hospital with staples in his head. Mm-hmm. So, and they asked him, why didn't you try to take more action? He's like, even though he was aggressive, I didn't want to be put on the news like I am right now. Like, I didn't want to be a part of the news. I don't want to be said that I shot some guy, even though I did it for the right reasons because he was being aggressive. I don't want to be that guy that gets put in that position and then I lose my job and I don't have anything to do. And the police department and the sergeant and everybody that are behind him are just ripping the fucking media apart. And I think that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. They should be ripping the media apart because, it's because of you fucks. And they didn't say fucks, but I'm just going to say it the way that they want to say it. Mm-hmm. You fucks are the reason why police are not doing their job right now.
Because now they rather think about it. A cop would nowadays, if a cop still wants to keep his job, you might as well just let the guy go. Right. If the guy's going to run and resist, let him go.
Exactly.
Let him go drive his car into the middle of a fucking packed intersection.
Here's what you have to understand. First of all, for those of you that are listening in the South, okay, I don't care if you're black, white, whatever you are, you need to make sure that you are A, you listen to the officer and do what the officer says. B, do not confront the officer. Do not be aggressive. Okay. And number 3, these cops don't want to do anything to be on the news. Mm-hmm. They don't. So what you need to do is you need to just listen and do what the cop says. And if they step over a line, you get a lawyer and you sue. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all you need to do. Okay. And I'm not just saying this to the black listeners out there. I'm saying this to everybody. Yeah, and by the way, you know what? It's rant time because I'm getting sick and tired of these fucking Black Lives Matter pieces of shit out there. Let me tell you something. What happened to all lives matter? What happened to everybody's lives matter? Mm-hmm. I don't give it. Look, and this might sound racist, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna say it. If you're a fucking black man and you're going out there dealing drugs and you confront a police officer and you're aggressive, I'm sorry, but you deserve whatever the officer does to you. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. The same thing goes for the white dude that, goes downtown and buys a bunch of stuff from a drug house and then starts his own drug thing down in Mount Morris or Dansville. Okay? You do the same thing to an officer, you should get fucking shot in the face. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Look, you're going to be aggressive with an officer. That officer is allowed to shoot you, and I am for the officer shooting you.
Yeah. Look, if you can't if you can't swallow your pride for a couple of minutes, you know what I'm saying? Like if a cop's going to sit there and tear into you, you know, and let's just, you know, I mean, look, they go, oh, your rights, your rights, your rights. You know what? Yeah, your rights. But what's your right when a person's holding a fucking gun? You know what I'm saying? Like a cop's the one holding the gun. And I've learned a long time ago, you don't get into an argument with someone that has a gun on them. You know, you don't, you know, and if, you know, so what? If the cop could call you an asshole, a piece of shit, the cop could talk about your mother, say your mother's a fucking whore that gargles cum all day. Let that shit slide. You know what I'm saying? Because your pride, if you feel that your pride is fucking being hurt, then you want to fucking fight and you want to resist. Now the cop is gonna have a reason to fucking kill you. Swallow your fucking pride, because that was another thing. This guy Samuel Dubose, that was the other story I wanted to talk about. You know, this guy, the cop comes up to him, and this is the one that had the cop had the body cam on him, and then he's talking to the guy. The cop pulls out a bottle of gin, which turns out, I guess they said that the bottle of gin had fragrance in it. That's
he pulled out a. The guy asked him if he had anything. I remember this story. Mm-hmm. He asked him if he had anything, and he said, well, I have this bottle of gin, but in the bottle of gin is just fragrance. It's
and you do understand how. I mean, I'm just saying, a logical human being would say this person's fucking lying, because anyone, you know, and if you know, watch any episode of Cops. And there's a million videos online where you see someone, you know, where they will deny every single thing to the cop, you know, and you know that's right. And you know what, and that's your right to deny. You can say, I don't know what that is, I don't know where it's from, because it's the judge, it's the cops job to prove you that you're lying or prove that you're wrong. But I mean, but also look at the logistical facts. If someone pulls out a bottle of gin and it says gin clearly on the bottle and there's fluid in it and you're in a car, you know, that doesn't look good. Not to mention that this guy was being shady as fuck. You know, when the cop asked him, if you watch the video, the cop says, do you have your license? And the guy goes, yes, I have a license. And do you have your license on you? And the guy kept saying, yes, I have my license. This asshole, and I don't care if he's dead, this asshole, you know, he's not answering the question. Yeah, and I understand things are tense. Everyone gets nervous when you see those red and blue flashing lights in your window. But all you have, you know, the cop asks him, I want to say at least 3 times, do you have your license on you, or do you have your license? And the guy kept saying, yes, right. I have a license. No, asshole. No one cares if you have a license. They want to know if you have your license on you, you know. And then he doesn't have the license. And then the moment the cop goes to open the door, the guy resists. You know, the cop comes to open the door because, one, this guy's acting shady as fuck. The cop just pulled out a bottle of fucking gin, and this guy, you know, he's getting all kinds of worried and you know, kind of stuttering and all that shit. You know, had he just let the cop pull you out of the car. Well, I mean, one, you kind of deserved it because you kept resisting. You kept, like, you know, not listening to the cop. He's like, the cop grabs his door. He's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't worry about what the fuck the cop's doing. Had this guy just got out of the car, got frisked, or whatever the case may be, you know, got his ticket, he would have gone about his merry way. You know, I mean, of course, his insurance would have gone up, or whatever the case may be. You know, maybe even if he had a warrant out, or whatever the case may be, you know, he could have went to jail. But you know what? At least you would have went to jail alive. Right. You know, you would have still been breathing by the time the next sun came up. You know, and this asshole tried to drive away, and you know, the cop panicked. Unfortunately, the cop does panic, and the cop shot him in the head. But you know what it is? Cops deal with assholes all day long. You know, when you're in a police uniform, you're basically walking around with a giant target on your back, you know. And don't get me wrong. Look, I'll play devil's advocate and say, look, you know, okay, a guy, you know, a black guy driving a car, that's another person walking around with a giant target on their back. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's real. You know, when you get pulled over by the cops, don't be nervous. Don't jerk. Don't, you know, when you're watching this video, the guy is kind of like mulling over on the side of his car, like when the cop's asking him for like his paperwork. Right. You know, I would expect any second now. I would expect, you know, I've seen enough videos on cops and stuff like that where the guy turns around and pulls a gun out of nowhere. You know, the guy's being very, very, very shady. You know, I've learned a long time ago, you know, when a cop pulls you over, take your keys, take them out of the fucking ignition, put them on top of the dashboard, put your hands on the wheel. And then what I do is to add, you know, to keep things even more, I splay my fingers out. Like, I'll put my hands up, my palms are on the steering wheel with my fingers pointing all out. You know, just because I don't want the cop to think for a second that I have something on me. You know, and the cop goes, "Can I see your license?" And you know, and I'll say, look, My license is in, my right rear pocket. I have to reach back to my right rear pocket to get it, and I know that sounds, it sounds a bit much, but you know what? I've never had a cop pull a gun on me. I've gotten plenty of speeding tickets in my time. I've never had a cop pull a gun on me. I've never had, I said, look, okay, I'm taking my hands. I got to reach into my back pocket. That's where my wallet is, and this guy was acting so shady. And I'm not saying, and people are like, oh, you get killed for a ticket. No, you don't get, no one's getting killed for a ticket. No one's getting killed because there's some sort of, you got killed because you resisted. You got killed because you did some shady fucking shit. You made the cop panic and you made the cop pull out his gun and shoot you. That's why you got killed. Nobody gets killed for selling cigarettes. Nobody gets killed for, making a right.
Well, that one guy did. His family actually got like millions of dollars from the fucking department because of that shit.
Well, I'm just saying is that when he died, everyone's like, "Oh, you got killed for selling cigarettes." No, he didn't get killed for selling cigarettes. He was selling cigarettes. The cops confronted him. They were going to arrest him, and he resisted.
Now the one guy probably did use excessive force. So obviously, but
well, yeah, but that's once again is look. We all understand. Nobody wants to be arrested. We all understand. Everyone's tense and nervous. But if you resist, just let the cop put the cuffs on you. You know what I'm saying? You've lost. There's no one wins. No one wins against the cops. You never hear stories of people like, they resisted and they got away and they ran from the cops and somehow they got away. That shit doesn't happen. That's fucking magic world. You know what I'm saying? Let the cops fucking put you in cuffs. You know what? Hey, you may, even if you're going to jail for 20 fucking years, at least you'll be alive in 20 fucking years. Either that or resist and get choked the fuck out. Either that or resist and get shot in the fucking head. Cops, like I said, a cop deals with 100 assholes before they get to you, and you're asshole 101. Whether you like it or not, you're just another asshole. So don't provoke a cop. Then better people should be cops. Well, then why aren't? So you telling me only racists become cops? Are you telling me that people who don't have good morals and good standing become cops? Why don't more black people go to become cops? I'm boiling it down to the most basic I'm just saying is, we're
you got a good point.
All these wonderful open-minded people, why don't they go and become police officers? And let's not, I think by the time you become a cop, and you've had a couple years on the job, you grow so very cold and very jaded because you deal with the worst of the worst of the worst. All these people that are judging cops are people who've never worn a uniform. All these people that are judging cops have never had a badge, never had to walk to a stranger's car, not knowing what the fuck that stranger had on them, worried and stuff like that. I remember there was months ago I shared that video where they had this civil rights guy that was like he organized protests and marches and stuff, and they put him through like a police training program, like when to use a gun, and the guy pulled out the gun and fucking unloaded the blanks in the subject. He had when they had guys jump out at him or whatever, and he had the gun on him. People want to sit there and judge cops, but they never wore a uniform. They never dealt with the kind of stresses and strains it is to become a cop. All you have to do is not resist. Swallow your fucking pride and let them fucking arrest you if that's going to be the case. People want to fucking fight. Yes, you have rights, but you're not going to have a chance to exercise those rights if the cop puts a fucking bullet in you because you decided to fucking panic and resist. I'm sorry. Go on.
And by the way, another thing, if you want your movement to be to be like a legitimate good thing for people across America, and I'm talking about these Black Lives Matter people, how about you control the fact that people are taking advantage of your movement and going out and trying to rob stores and kill other people? Mm-hmm. Look at what happened to this one kid that was, the police were shooting at these idiots out there, and this was in Ferguson a couple weeks ago, and I get the peaceful protest, I got that, but why in the fuck are you throwing stuff at police? Why in the fuck are you taking out a gun and shooting at police? And then that one kid takes out a gun. It shows him on camera taking out a gun and rushing towards where the gunfire is. What the fuck are you doing? No wonder you got shot up. He's been charged with everything, every single thing. If the kid makes it, he's fucked. Yeah. So, look, I understand that there is this racism that's going on down south, and I can tell you right now, it's not. There's nothing up here that I've seen. Nothing's happened in Buffalo, nothing's happened in Syracuse, nothing's happened here in Rochester. It's mainly down south where all this shit is happening, and for me, it's something's got to change, because if we don't change right now, all these cops aren't gonna, these cops are just gonna be like, fuck this, I'm not gonna work here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna go work as a security guard and make a shitload of money, because security guards make about $17 to $20 an hour, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fuck. Say like you're doing that for 8 hours, that's a lot of fucking cash per week. You know what I mean? If you're doing 40 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a safer thing than doing what these officers are doing. Actually, let me put a little bit of perspective in this, and then we'll try to end this and go to commercial. But, Chris, they can't even fill positions down south.
Yeah.
They're actually applications have dried up because they can't get enough officers to sign up for these positions down south.
Yeah,
that's why
they're recruiting people up here.
Exactly.
I've seen websites or whatever where they
Yeah. Yeah, they are paying top dollar to get officers from up here to come up down there. But see, there again, they're trained better up here.
Mm-hmm.
They're not these fucking white racist motherfuckers out there that are doing stuff. Now, there was a video where some black officer, was harassing a veteran. So, guys, it goes both ways. But at the same time, what I'm trying to say is that, this is it's getting a little tough out there, and I feel really bad for those officers that are actually doing their job, and they may end up on the news just because they're doing their job.
It's like hashtag Black Lives Matter, hashtag no more than anyone else's.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll be right back with more dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc. 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. You can leave the pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com. And now for listeners of Two Strangers, One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. So usually the first part of the show, we talk about personal stuff, politics, whatever, sort of the grab bag, and we get to the nerdy news the second half of the part of the show. But on Paul's list, the one thing we didn't get to, Paul wanted to talk about his own topic. So here you go. Get your rant ears on, people.
Oh yes, I love doing this. So you don't usually hear me talking about politics, but we are in a presidential race. And one thing that's been pissing me off is this dude by the name of Bernie Sanders. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a long rant, and some people may sit there and disagree with me, but first of all, this fuck is not even a Democrat. This guy's an independent. He put himself as a nominee for the Democratic nomination because he wanted to become president. Mm-hmm. Okay. First of all, I don't know if a lot of you know that, but he was an independent, so he's not a true Democrat. That's number one. Now, number two, this is one of the things that has turned me off to this candidate, and it's kind of pissed me off. I know that there's people out there that don't like Hillary Clinton, and there's also people that don't want Hillary Clinton to be president because they have questions about blah 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 or this or that and the other. Mm-hmm. First of all, I am pro Hillary, and I think that it's very, very fucked up for people to go, well, she lied about this and that and the other. The emails that are supposedly now, what's the word I'm looking for? That are now classified.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, at the time they weren't even classified. They became classified after the fact.
Yeah.
So how is that her fault when they became classified after the fact? Are you people dumb out there that you can't fucking see that this woman is actually did her job right? She had like a 70 to 80% approval rating as Secretary of State. That's fucking good. She was doing better than the president. Hello? Why are we even having this conversation? But that being said, that's the reason why, like, I think a lot of a lot of people are attracted to Bernie Sanders. But here's the fucking sad part. This guy, this little fucking prick, goes into the Senate. I think he's a senator, or is he representative? I don't remember. He's a little peon on my fucking dick that I don't even care about. Like, he goes in and he puts up bills on the floor after he puts his nomination in to be president, Democratic nominee for president.
He's a senator. Sorry,
senator. He puts these fucking like bills up. Oh yeah, 4 free years of college tuition, blah blah blah, this and that. And I'm sitting there going, okay, that's all well and nice and good, Bernie Sanders, but why weren't you fucking doing that before you became a nominee for the Democratic Party?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that to me, Chris, is like that turns me off immediately. Mm-hmm. Because the fucking Republicans are doing it right after they fucking, like, I know, for example, Rand Paul, like, he put some shit up too, and I'm like, dude, that should turn Americans off like that. And plus, that's unfair. That's fucking unfair. Hillary Clinton's not in the fucking Senate. She's not even a Secretary of State anymore. So how is that fair for him to go in and do that kind of shit? And then people are going like, oh yeah, that looks really good. I want to vote for him. And then fucking Hillary's like, he did that after he put his name in for the Democratic nomination to be president. Hello? and then the third thing, which a lot of people should be making a big deal about, and they're not. Bernie Sanders had two what the hell, like conventions, basically, when he was in Seattle. Mm. And yes, a lot of people are talking about the second one where he had like 28,000 people. And yeah, okay, fine, that is a big number, and it worries me because I think a lot of people are dumb fucks in the Democratic Party. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I'm going in on people. I'm a little pissed about this. But the first rally that he was having, these two people, I think it was black women from Black Lives Matter movement, come up, interrupt him, and instead of this pussy being like, get the fuck out of here, he moves away from the mic and cancels the rally. Yeah. So you want to be president of the United States, but you can't stop two women from stopping your rally?
Look, I was just playing devil's advocate here. Had he done anything that would have instantly labeled him a racist?
It doesn't matter. Like, you need to stand. Like, there are people out there, white and black, that would sit there and say, well, that was a good move on your part to stop these women. But he didn't. I think that's a pussy move, and I think that he's a fucking piece of shit that doesn't deserve to be the president, let alone a nominee for the Democratic Party. I think he should fucking... Look, you were an independent. I'm sorry. You're not a Democrat. Go away. You know what I mean? Just go away. Just go away. You don't need to be a fucking nominee. And I'm just fucking fed up hearing about, oh yeah, Bernie Sanders wants to do this. Oh yeah, Bernie Sanders wants to do that. You know what Bernie Sanders can do? He can suck my fucking dick. How about that? You know what? Because I'm fucking sick and tired of hearing this motherfucker. And I'm going to tell you right now, if he gets nominated as the Democratic nominee for president, I will not vote for a Democrat this year. I will actually go out of my way to vote for a Republican. Yeah, even if it's Donald Trump, I will still vote for a Republican.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think it's just, like you mentioned a part about him being independent, because there are rumblings and there are people like, okay, well, if you're going to be independent, because obviously if he goes for Democrat, that means he's gonna have to fight Hillary eventually to get to be a Democrat.
Yeah, there's the first debate for the Democrats is in October.
Yeah, so I think he's running as an independent just so technically he's not running against Hillary. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, just to kind of address something you mentioned earlier. Once again, just playing devil's advocate.
No. He's going for the Democratic nomination. Mm. He's classified as an independent right now in the Senate, but he's running for the Democratic nomination.
Okay.
Chris, that's absurd.
Mhm.
That's fucking absurd. You're an independent. You are classified as a fucking independent. Why are you a part of the Democratic Party? You're not. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Let this woman that deserves to run the country be a part of it, because you know what? I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of hearing, oh, Hillary can't do this, Hillary can't do that. You know what? We have 50 different Republicans running for the presidential nomination, and Trump's leading the whole pack. You know why? Because people are sick and tired of politicians, okay? And Republicans are actually becoming smart and going, hey, I don't want dumbass Cruz or dumbass whatever Bush to be fucking president. I mean, think about this for a minute, Chris. Fucking Bush has over $100 million. $100 million fucking dollars to run for president right now, and he's getting beat by Donald Trump by double digits. Like, that is a fucking slap in the face right there, if I haven't seen one. Like, this, Donald Trump didn't do, he didn't lose really anything out of that last debate. And I'm going to tell you right now, this might be the first time that I ever see a Republican that's not a politician get nominated for the Republican for the nomination to be president. I can tell you right now, if that's the case, this is going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting.
And I'm going to tell you, I don't think, like, if Hillary goes up against him, I have no doubt in my mind that he'll lose to Hillary. If Bernie Sanders is the Democratic nomination, yeah, dude, like, he's going to fucking lose. And I'm sorry, but that's the way it is.
Gotcha.
So, the end of my rants.
Okay.
I just wanted to put that out there.
So now we will move on to the nerdy part of the as I call it, their nerdy news. Now, of course, in a moment we'll get to D23, which is basically Disney's version of Comic-Con.
I thought that involved my nuts. These nuts.
Yeah, we're going. These nuts. No, we are going.
Hey! Wait! What's rule number 1, Chris? No phones on.
No phone. You know what it is? I thought my phone was. I don't.
No excuses, corner.
My phone, stupid.
You know what we need to talk about first, Chris?
Basically, before we get into D23, because like I said, we made a big deal about Marvel allegedly not being at Comic-Con this year. It's because they're hosting D23, which is pretty much their own Comic-Con. But before we get into the future, because right now no podcasts are talking about D23, but all the podcasts are talking about from the past week, Fantastic Four. And of course, our show wouldn't be the show that it is. And we have to talk about the elephant in the room. We have to talk about fucking the abortion that was Fantastic Four.
I haven't seen it, and I probably won't see it because I've heard it's completely and utterly terrible. I've heard it's worse than the first Fantastic Four from a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, I didn't think that one was a bad Fantastic Four. Actually, I thought it was good.
Yeah, look. Don't get me wrong. Was it cheesy and corny? Yeah. I don't think it was bad. You know what I'm saying? It was cheesy, but then again, that's what you do with a character. When you have a movie where one guy stretches and the other guy's a fucking rock, it has to be cheesy. Yeah. It has to be. They should have had fun with it.
Right. And you also have to put out there, too, that, if you base it off of the animated series that they had, the animated series was fucking cheesy. Mm-hmm. So why not just continue the whole cheesiness with it? And it did work. The sequel was... that was an abomination, but I've heard that
fuck up Galactus. I mean,
Galactus should not be a fucking huge cloud. That was stupid. And then to fucking whatever they did to Jessica Alba. First of all, Jessica Alba is the hottest piece of ass on this earth. Second of all, like, to take Jessica Alba's character as Susan Storm. Yeah. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Sue Storm. Yeah. Yeah, Susan. Yeah.
And whatever you did with the fucking makeup, like, I don't understand. I really don't understand.
That is funny how, like, earlier, like, and it's sort of the joke in this podcast, that we talked about, how could they have a black guy play Johnny Storm, but you got Jessica Alba, who, for all intents and purposes, Jessica Alba is of Mexican descent. But trust me, I already looked this up. She's like Dutch and Irish, and she's a mix of everything. But for all intents and purposes, she identifies as Hispanic. I guess not Mexican, but she identifies as Hispanic. So you dye her hair blonde, you give her fucking blue contacts, you cake fucking makeup on her to make her look lighter than her actual skin color. You know, and because her
Well, that was
Sue
that was
Storm and
the,
Johnny Storm are brother and sister, so they had to make her light her so she can match Chris Evans.
well. I mean, that was in the second one. The first one was, she didn't so much have makeup caked on, and I thought the way that she was fine. I didn't see a problem with that.
But it's funny that that we made a big deal about a black
Yeah.
guy being Johnny Storm, but we failed to mention that
That's true.
a Hispanic woman playing Sue
That is
Storm,
true.
a white woman. But she's gorgeous. Jessica Alba is a tasty treat, and and it's funny, when you're that attractive, you can get away with
Right.
not being the ethnicity of the character
Right.
that you're, I'm not saying Michael B. Jordan is an ugly guy. I'm not attracted to guys, so I can't tell you if he's good or not. Now, I had mentioned this in the past. The director Josh Trank, he's been on Kevin Smith's Fat Man on Batman podcast. One of the many podcasts that I listen to. I love everything Kevin Smith does. The first episode, now mind you, Kevin Smith scheduled it to be a four episode long interview.
Right.
And it's sort of just him talking about his life and growing up, and behind the scenes about Fantastic Four, and it's funny because they've only released 3. I wonder if he's going to release 4, because since Josh, now the world fucking hates Josh Trank. I wonder if Kevin Smith is going to release part 4, or I don't know if it's even, maybe they didn't even record it yet, but the first episode, this kid comes off as such a fucking snot. If you feel bad for people, like if people like, oh, stop picking on Josh Trank, listen to that first episode of Fat Man on Batman, the interviews with Josh Trank. He is a spoiled brat. He was born and raised in Hollywood. His dad made Holocaust documentaries. This guy never had a hard day of work in his life. Later on, and he tries to paint the picture that, oh, he got these jobs on his own. He got a job, he's got a job at movie studio. He had a job like in his teens at a TV station, like cutting, like a public TV station, like the XXI here, PBS. He had got a job at a PBS cutting together videos, Then they had him, and then he got a job at a movie studio. At first, he's doing deliveries, like he would pick up film from one part of town and take it to the film developers on the other side of town. And then all of a sudden he puts out a YouTube clip that looks like people, like drunk guys fighting at a house party, and then the guys pull out fucking lightsabers and stuff. And that's the clip that allegedly made him famous, and then they gave him the money to go do Chronicle. Now, Hollywood doesn't just give someone from YouTube, $5 million and says, hey, go make a movie.
Right.
That he has connections. People know his dad. He's in the system. This guy, like I said, he's never worked a hard day in his life. And he got what he got because of his dad. He got what he got because, this guy never lived out. He was, it's funny. He told, oh yeah, I lived in Hollywood, and I went to Hollywood High School and all this other stuff. And then, he tried to play it off like, oh, well, no, it's not like 90210, those people are spoiled. No, asshole. You live in fucking Hollywood, and of course, like I said, Hollywood's kind of like New York, where like one part of it's really nice. The rest of it's kind of shitty. Just listen to that episode. If you ever feel bad for Josh Trank, listen to that episode. You won't feel that bad anymore. This kid's a spoiled brat. When you hear the offset hijinks where him and his family trashed the house that he was staying at, for what reason did they need to trash that house? You and especially if you're with, I guess allegedly his wife and kids or whatever. Why are you trashing a house? You need to be a fucking man and a role model for your kids. Why is a house being destroyed? A house that the studio provided you to live in. He comes off like a spoiled little fuck. So that's why I'm kind of glad Fantastic Four fucking tanked. I'm sorry.
Well, what about episode 2 and 3? What was that about?
Well, 2 and 3, they kind of Kevin Smith, and that's what I love about Kevin Smith is, Kevin Smith could even make this fucking asshole that I didn't like could make him interesting. Because, Kevin Smith just has him talking about growing up and his influences. And he starts, he talks about his early, his jobs at the TV station. He talks about the jobs that he had at the early movie studios, And then, like I said, then magically it goes from a YouTube clip to fucking being given $5 million for a movie. Movie studios don't work like that. They're very, very,
right.
They hold their money very, very tight. And, if they're going to give you a fucking dime, trust me, there's going to be a million, questions behind that dime. And like he says, oh, it was And because he made Chronicle with this other guy, Max Landis, and Max Landis is once again another Hollywood spoiled brat, who was John Landis's son. John Landis from Stripes and not Stripes. Oh my God. Look, John Landis is a movie director in Hollywood. He's made a lot of movies. Let's put it like that. Now, but if you watch Max Landis's YouTube videos, he did one like the Death and Return of Superman, where he kind of goofed on the Death and Return of Superman. He did this one about how the rise and fall of Triple H and the WWE. And he's a spoiled Hollywood brat, so he has his rich Hollywood friends. Like, these are people that are like acting in movies, play parts. He has the kid from Lord of the Rings, Elijah Wood. Elijah Wood plays part in the video. He has the guy that played Foggy Nelson from the Daredevil series. He had him in his videos. But see, Chronicle was work between Josh Trank and Max Landis. I honestly think Chronicle worked out the way it did because of Max Landis's input. I don't be wrong. I call Max Landis a spoiled brat or whatever, but at least Max Landis is interesting. He's an annoying fuck, but he makes interesting content. His Death and Return of Superman video, it's like a 40-minute video. It's fucking fantastic. His rise and fall of Triple H or whatever is fantastic. He all the contributions, when you see, and at least Josh Trank gave credit was due. Max Landis kind of rewrote the script for Chronicle. Now the movie that's coming up, that's Max Landis's little baby, is that one called American Ultra. I don't know if you've seen a commercial for it. Yeah, it's Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart.
Oh, it looks hilarious, dude.
Yeah, and it's a comedy action movie. It's funny, and I mean, I'm not a big fan of like stoner shit, but I mean, I'll take it for what it is. And he, they wake him up, and then he becomes like the Bourne Identity and shit like that. It goes from being a stoner movie to the fucking Bourne Identity, which is interesting. It's fun, so my point is, yes, Chronicle was a good movie, but I think Chronicle was good because of Max Landis, not because of Josh Trank. So fuck Josh Trank. Now, fantastic. Out where we live, or at least about a half an hour south of here, there's a drive-in movie theater. Drive-in theater. And I haven't been to a drive-in since literally 98, 99. I think one of the last movies I saw there was Godzilla. I think it was either Godzilla or Armageddon. So those summers. But actually right now, the Avon Theater, whatever the hell it's called, they actually have
it's Vintage Drive-In.
Vintage Drive-In. They actually have, and I don't. Are they double features when they have the movies?
Yes.
Or they just okay?
Yeah.
So the double feature is Fantastic Four and Pixels, and part of me wants to go so bad just to see two shitty movies in a row.
Well, here's the funny thing though, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Pixels did so well overseas that it actually surpassed the budget that it had. So there may actually be another one of these.
Oh God! Well, I mean, it has its drawing power. I mean, I don't know. We didn't. I watched it. I streamed a fucking a Russian version of it.
Jesus.
But I mean, I know I didn't stream it. I mean, I went to the movie theaters and I saw it, but it wasn't that great. So hopefully I don't wake anybody up. Okay, so so where were we? So okay, so like I mentioned right when we got back from the break. D23. Now, I guess we're going to get the jump on other podcasts because this is fresh news. I mean, literally from 5 hours ago. D23 is Disney's version of Comic-Con. Disney owns everything. There's announcements being made. Hold on, I just want to grab my what people are looking for. I mean, they're literally talking about announcements that involve the Muppets. The Muppets are getting a new TV show on ABC. Not new. I mean, they're getting the Muppets are coming back to Disney. Which who owns Disney? Who owns ABC? Disney, of course. Okay, where was I? So they're talking. Okay, and of course Disney owns Marvel. So there's mentions today of Civil War, Captain America Part 3. There's announcements about Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. They're doing and once again, this is just news, not stuff that I approve of, but they're doing a Part 2 to Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland, called Alice Through the Looking Glass, which, whatever, I can't, it is what it is. And of course, all the Pixar movies. There's like they've announced like 6 new Pixar movies. Okay, Toy Story 4. Of course they're going back to the well on all their old original properties.
Oh, of course they are.
Toy Story 4. Finding Dory, the sequel to Finding Nemo.
Yeah, I knew about that. When is that supposed to come out?
Oh, let me see. I just saw it a second ago. Where was it? I just saw it a second ago. I think okay. Finding Dory. Oh, June 2016. So June of next year, summer. So
yeah, they keep pushing that off. Like I kept wanting to know when it was out, and it's just like anytime now.
And it's weird because like the kids that watched Finding Nemo aren't going to be kids. Aren't kids at the time of this fucking movie, because Finding Nemo was 2003 and Finding Dory is fucking 2016.
Right.
So those people, and trust me, dude, as a dad, I've seen Finding Nemo a billion fucking times. But Pixar, they put great movies out. And once again, this is Finding Dory, so it's all about Ellen DeGeneres's, the fish that can't remember stuff. And they do have a cute picture where it's Dory talking to an octopus, but he's not an octopus because one of his legs, he's missing a leg, so it's a septopus. He's missing a limb.
That's racist. God.
Okay, so Pixar is doing a movie called Gigantic, which is a reimagining of Jack and the Beanstalk, but I think it's supposed to be like, if I'm reading this correctly, I'm kind of just going over it real quick. It's sort of like the Jack and the baby giant, the giant's 11-year-old daughter, who she's a giant, and like she basically tortures Jack, and she slams him in one of her books, like to make him like a bookmark, and she picks him up and throws him around, stuff like that. So there's that. Let me see. There's something here. Okay, Toy Story 4, which, oh my god. That's kind of, I think they're beating that dead horse. Toy Story 4, which is, according to this, going to have a romance between Tom Hanks and Little Bo Peep. I'm not, you got a friend in me. So, now a new original movie. Now, there are rumors that there's going to be a Cars 4, Cars 3. These are just rumors. Cars 3 is a rumor.
Oh, well, there's a poster up for Cars 3, so it can't really be a rumor.
Okay.
We know Incredibles 2.
Yeah, Incredibles 2. I'm just saying is that, like, on the article the couple articles I'm looking at, they haven't really fleshed it out. They just show the poster. So the stuff I'm reading now is stuff that's a little more fleshed out. They're doing a movie called Moana, which is sort of a movie based in the South Pacific, and like you see these really cool visuals, and like you see like there's one visual where it looks like a woman made out of lava, but like a giant old lady, but like it's like a volcano, but an old lady, but it looks beautiful. And I guess being a character being taken place in the South Pacific, they're using the voice of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who's is Samoan descent. Let me see what else. That was Finding. Oh, and they're doing another movie called The Good Dinosaur, which the pictures I've seen, you do see like one dinosaur that looks kind of like soft and goofy, and then the rest of the dinosaurs look a little more scarier, a little more realistic. And they're doing another one called Zootopia, which is basically about, it's like a world where animals, anthropomorphic, walking, talking animals. So that's all the stuff coming out of right now out of D23. With not everything, but they were talking about. I'm on a bunch of communities online like that are Star Wars related. So there are a lot of leaked photos of upcoming Star Wars toys. The characters. Which for people that collect the toys, it's a big deal. Once again, Marvel. The Marvel stuff, but they haven't. As I'm looking at right now, okay, on Saturday, which is we're recording this before that, they're going to start talking about the Marvel stuff. The one thing they did say is in September on Disney XD, they're coming out with the Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon, which if it's anything like Earth's Mightiest Heroes, it's going to be good, because Earth's Mightiest Heroes is a great cartoon. It takes the source material seriously, and it's fun. What else we got here? Okay, so that's everything I have right now on D23. Have you heard about the show called Mr. Robot?
Yes.
It's, let me tell you, this thing is, I think obviously the people who made this show must have saw Fight Club and said, you know, Mr. Robot is basically if they took Fight Club and made it into a TV show. I mean, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but Jesus Christ, I mean, like, because it's about this hacker who, a computer hacker, and he kind of has like a high functioning Asperger's. Like he's one of those guys where he's like super smart, but he doesn't socially interact with people. He doesn't like people touching him. You know, he could look at a person and kind of like figure out your passwords, like for your websites and stuff like that. So, like he'll go like, if you know, like he goes to a therapist and like he hacks his therapist's email and banking cards and stuff like that, so like he can tell that morning she bought a coffee, and you know when she goes online and she looks at porn, or you know, and it's an interesting concept, but holy shit that they steal so much from Fight Club, or the way he talks, because like the character kind of narrates the series, and it's supposed to be like he's talking to us, the characters, but it's almost like he's recording himself, like he's doing like a webcam kind of thing, you know, like he's kind of confessing, I guess would be a lack of a better term, but you know, they never really make it clear on who he's talking to, but it's obviously like some sort of recording, you know. You know, it has Christian Slater. Love Christian Slater. I mean, you know, and he's kind of doing what Christian Slater does, like what he, you know, if you ever saw the movie Heathers, or he was also in he had that show, you know, My Worst Enemy, My Own Worst Enemy, which was himself. You know, Christian Slater is being Christian Slater. I mean, it's a good show, but holy shit, do they rip off so much of Fight Club. And actually, they film lots of chunks of it in my old neighborhood, downtown Manhattan. So I feel a little reminiscent every time I watch episodes. But it's funny because you look like they go and they film one scene, and the characters allegedly like cross the street, and then they're like in a whole other part of the neighborhood. And I'm like, no, assholes. I live in that neighborhood, or I lived in that neighborhood for 20 years. Trust me, nobody. When they crossed the street, they went to a whole other part of the neighborhood.
Right.
So I would definitely recommend. Now they're still like going. They're like up to like episode 10 or whatever. But like I said, I gave it a shot. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's starting to get a little. You know, you can't have a show about conspiracies without getting a little much or whatever. And you know, there's too many loose ends that they haven't tied up yet. But I mean, it's worth a shot. I kind of like it. And also the last thing on my list. Oh, second to last thing. I just.
Oh, of course.
Well, no, yeah, because I wanted to talk about real quick about Roddy Piper, the passing of Roddy Piper. I was such a huge Roddy Piper fan as a kid. When I was very, very young, one of my uncles, you know, he took me and all my boy cousins, because I don't think the girl cousins would have cared. He took us all to Madison Square Garden to see wrestling, to go see, you know, WWF at the time, not WWE, WWF. And, you know, he had bought me a Hot Rod shirt. I had wanted a Hot Rod shirt. And I remember that night it was one of the main events was Jake the Snake Roberts versus King Kong Bundy. And I'll never forget it. That was like, so if anybody could do the math and do a little homework, I mean, I was in Madison Square Garden that night. But like I said, that Hot Rod shirt, it was a white shirt, said Hot Rod across the chest, you know, had the red rings around the collar and the arms, the sleeves. And I'm gonna tell you, I wore that thing until it was so fucking dirty and nasty because I loved Roddy Piper. So, you know, and of course, you know, he was in that great movie, They Live, which co-starred person that you don't like anymore, Keith David. But
yeah,
you know.
Fuck him. Anyway.
But They Live, and you know, and it's funny because like I came across about a day before he died, I came across the DVD where it was 4 movies on one DVD. It was They Live, John Carpenter's The Thing, Village of the Damned, and Virus. But you know, so the day he died, I went and I bought that DVD. It was like I said, $7 for 4 movies, so it was pretty awesome. So I watched it, and it's like that movie still holds up. It's still fucking interesting, and that's a movie that if they redid it today, they could redo it today, talking about like, you know, people under control.
What the hell is going on in the background? Jesus Christ!
It's my mom and her dog has asthma problems or something like that, and it's stupid mutt. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about, I've been reading this book, Ready Player One, Which I guess when Pixels came out, everyone was talking about, oh well, if you want to see a movie, wait till they, because apparently Steven Spielberg is, I don't know if he's going to direct it, but he's definitely producing it. He's doing a version which I think is going to come out next year around Christmas. It's a book called Ready Player One, which it's about. It's basically, imagine if Willy Wonka made video games. So there's a guy who creates this like online virtual reality universe, and the whole world falls in love with him. And then like when he dies, he says, I left this little thing hidden in the virtual reality world that if you find it, you become the next owner of it. Saying like, that's my will and testament. Since I don't have any kids or people to leave it to, the fans, the people who are part of the universe, this virtual reality multiplayer online role playing game. You can, if you find it, it's yours. So these people and it's this kid, and then it kind of like veers off track because then he falls in love with a girl, and it's and like oh my god! First and foremost, it's Willy Wonka. And then it's funny because like people are like, oh, people talking about Pixels. I'm like, this has nothing to do with Pixels, or just the fact that now it's a book. I mean, it's eventually gonna be a movie about video games, because like people were saying that, oh, like this is like that Futurama episode. Yeah, I guess technically it is kind of like that Futurama episode where they fought the video game characters, but I mean, no, it was based on a short. There was a guy, the director. Made that short called Pixels, and it was just sort of like aliens attacking Earth, and then they said, okay, they gave him $1 billion, they gave him Adam Sandler, and they said, okay, now Adam Sandler's going to star in it, So I mean, it's when someone says Ready Player One is like Pixels, it's not. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I mean, the book is okay, but it's just like way over the top because it's supposed to be, obviously it's a nerd book. Catering to people that like video games and other nerdy shit. But it's like, I mean, look, obviously we do a nerdy podcast. Not every fucking thing that comes out of our mouth is a comic book reference or a movie reference or, video game reference. Like these people, they talk, and people don't talk like that. Like, people bash the Big Bang Theory. Like, oh, nerds don't talk like that. This makes the Big Bang Theory look like fucking Shakespeare. Because nerds don't fucking talk like that. No nerds talk like that.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else before we wrap this up?
No, let's wrap it up.
Okay, so please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net, where you can find everything show-related. You can find links to our iTunes. You can go back and listen to... Well, actually, no, I've actually been deleting episodes, so you can go back and listen to most of the past 3+ years. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com. /Two Strangers One Podcast, all spelled out. Of course, we want your money, but if you can't give us your money, it just takes 2 seconds to like the page and to share us. And like I said, I've been getting these older videos and putting them up online. So feel free to share any particular older episodes. I mean, and it's slowly building up to when our Podomatic runs out, and see if we go over to SoundCloud. So once again, facebook.com /Two Strangers One Podcast. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at Stranger Podcast, which, I should be a little more interactive. But now when I upload the episodes, the Twitter feed will put it out there. The Twitter feed it does notify you. If you want to write us like Oscar, like Oscar sent us a letter saying, what the fuck? You guys are making me wait for a new episode. You can write to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. That's all spelled out, twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. We're on YouTube. You can just go on YouTube and search for Two Strangers One Podcast. We can listen to the old episodes. I have a couple of ideas for more stranger vlogs. I just haven't gotten around to filming them because my mom's in town and my daughter's birthday is right around the corner. So
wait. Am I allowed to record some stranger vlogs?
If you want, yeah, you can record a stranger vlog. So I can put it in the format of the other one, so we can, just shoot it over to me and I'll put it up.
Oh, I'll shoot it over to you.
And let me see, Two Strangers. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. And once again, Two Strangers One Podcast.net. And I acquiesce the floor to you, sir.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter as usual at Paul Pascrillo. You can find me on Instagram.com/Paul Pascrillo. I put up a picture of some idiot in front of the apartment parking across 2 parking spaces. It's a wonderful.
Yeah, it wasn't even a parallel parking. The guy just.
No. It was pretty bad. And then it continued through the next day. Let's see. You can also ask me questions. It's ask.fm/Paul Pascrillo. I will answer any questions you have. And, of course, it doesn't have to be Toonami related because, I would like to answer your questions. One other thing as well, before we get the hell out of here. We put out the first single for We Are the Faithful. If you guys want to listen to that, it's soundcloud.com/Geeky Inc. Productions. The first track off the album is called Devastation. It's very good. The whole album's about One Piece, so if you're not a One Piece fan, you may not get what he's trying to do with the lyrics, but, you guys should take a listen, and if you want to pre-order the CD, which I definitely suggest you should do because it's going to be an awesome CD, it's geekyinkproductions.bandcamp.com. On the main page there, you'll see an album picture for We Are the Faithful. Click that, and you can pre-order the album now. And that's it.
All right, well, we certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening and had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye. You should be fapping.
All over my face and clothes and whatever else is around.
In the sock.
In the sock.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double
it?
Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne smells good to me.
But
Look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
but it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I got to meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
Yeah, it
man.
is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a fucking a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his comic books, heavy metal, video games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could saw them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne right now.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.